Hi everyone, welcome to Seoul in South Korea. We had our Seedstars Seoul event a few days ago, and we elected our grand winner, Kpop United, and I'm here with Richard Choo, the founder of Kpop United. How do you feel?
Awesome. This is a wonderful opportunity. Seedstars World is huge, biggest in Europe. We're really happy to be nominated, I guess, the delegate of Korea. So this is going to be an opportunity, and looking forward to Switzerland.
And we found our grand winner from last year right here. So do you think we could find, maybe you might be the second winner again?
We're hoping so. Yeah, we're going to do the best we can, so we're hoping so. Yeah.
Cool. So Richard, could you tell us a little bit more about Kpop United, the maker of Kpop?
Yeah, so Kpop United was really started on the tenets of really understanding what the international fan base wants these days and how to get them more product basically that just fits their needs. So Kpop United started back in about 2011, and we started doing some shows internationally. We did a show at the Billboard, the MGM for Billboard magazine, and then after that started doing a lot of events that basically just address the needs that a lot of the producers in the K-pop scenes just weren't really understanding. For us, it was mostly for the fans and by the fans. And what the biggest thing that they started to get back to us was, hey, we really just want to see more shows in our city. We don't want to have to fly all the way to New York and LA all the time to go see a K-pop show. Why don't you come to us? We have 4,000 fans that are out here. So that was the invention of crowd pop. We wanted to figure out how to make a concert come to their city, one. Two is that how to get cheaper tickets for everybody. The economy's been bad, and a lot of fans don't have the time or necessary resources to always buy these expensive tickets that are really caused by upset on travel. Plane tickets for 40 people in a group is not cheap. And last but not least, is really just spread more Hallyu culture out throughout the world.
How big is the K-pop market right now?
K-pop market right now, last reports is in about $3.6 billion right now, and it's expanding. K-pop actually happens to be one of the fastest growing moving segments in music today, and we're very happy to be a part of it.
And so this year at the YouTube Awards, a K-pop band won. Can you tell us about that?
This year, the YouTube Music Video Awards, Girls' Generation, or Sonia Shide, took the top prize of having the YouTube Music Video of the Year. And what was really astonishing about that is because they beat out the likes of Miley Cyrus, Macklemore, One Direction, Lady Gaga, and Justin Bieber. And the beauty of it was really, it was a testament to the fans on how they get together, how they vote in droves, and really how they spend time to see their representation on the global music scene. And so articles from the Wall Street Journal have started depicting how next year is going to be a K-pop star just because of the absolute crazy fandom that's going around about K-pop. And so one of the things that we started noticing was that there has to be a major aggregation point for all of this activity. And if we can harness this aggregation point, or harness the activity through this aggregation point in giving people social rewards for the unique content that they put up, voting and saying, hey, listen, I don't want to spend $700 in a plane ticket in a hotel. I'm 14 years old, and that's a lot of ice cream. That's a lot of tables that you have to wait, and a lot of tips that you got to get together. But I mean, it's just not this is the K-pop fans. I think just as economy is in general, if everything can get cheaper by eliminating risk, is that it makes it better for everybody, and that's what we're looking to do.
So you're solving a problem not only for the fans, but also for the producers, also for the artists. Could you explain a little bit more about that? Like, what problems are you solving for who?
Yeah, so the typical model, or the old model for the whole entertainment industry in terms of concert castings, is that it usually either starts with a promoter, and promoters are a little bit older guys, they're in their mid-40s, early 50s, and they typically start to go around qualitative information, asking their kids, hey, do you think Big Bang is going to really do well in Indonesia? And it really doesn't harness the social activity and also the information that people can gather on the internet today. And so we started to think about, okay, how can we reverse engineer this whole process by, having artists find out new areas for them to put concerts on? How do we actually quantify the actual demand to reduce risk so that promoters can do more concerts in more cities, fans can actually start getting people to come to them, and artists can start finding out, hey, I've got fans in Abu Dhabi, I've got fans in Chile, so on and so forth. And crowd pop really does that in a very unique way. How we do that is basically it's a Kickstarter for concerts. If we can say, hey, listen, we've got 5,000 fans in Israel, if we got 5,000 fans in Denmark, if we got 5,000 fans in Switzerland, then the promoter knows that, hey, listen, if I can go do this show for this specific person, I'm gonna make money. And if they've already pre-funded it, in the sense that I've already hit my break-even point, then I can reduce the high ticket costs, because what happens most of the time is those ticket costs, so the high ticket costs, have a baked-in margin for risk.
Right.
And so eliminating that is actually just makes it cheaper for everybody, and you got a lot of shows.
So some cool concerts that you've been able to produce so far?
Cool concerts. So I did the global tour for JYJ. There's a group that came out of, it used to be former members from 동방신기 out in SM Entertainment. We did the 2011 Billboard K-Pop Masters in Las Vegas. And it was the first K-pop show to be ever done in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. We've done shows for Teen Top just in March, VIX. We were part of a marketing team for UKISS. We've done some promotional stuff for Taeyong in San Francisco. So we're all over the board. I think most importantly and most excitingly is that we're going to have some pretty cool concerts for next year. And this is all going to be dictated through fans, through crowd pop. And we'd love to make it to Switzerland. I got to try the fondue out there.
We should do a concert at our final event, actually.
Switzerland. Switzerland, K-pop in Switzerland. Yeah.
So it's been a lot of concerts in the US.
Yeah.
Are you looking more globally? What other geographical areas are you looking at?
So as of next month, we're starting up strategic partnerships out with some major promoters in China and bigger markets that we're trying to do, notable markets for us. This year, we're going to go to Abu Dhabi for the F1 Grand Prix. We are looking at doing China, Southeast Asia, so Philippines, Taiwan, Singapore, Mexico, Monterey, Canada, you name it. So the only last piece, and we're going to be going in, hopefully for you guys, for us, is that we'll meet some really cool people in February and then go from there. So
cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm interested about you as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
How did you start it? When did you start your first company? And I think you've got a big background back in the US, and then you came back to Korea.
Yeah.
Could you tell us how you made that move back to Korea?
Well, so the first entrepreneurial thing I did was I started selling hamsters at 6. My hamsters
In Korea?
in the States. So I was born in a town called Fremont, California. That's where the new Tesla factory is right now, actually. Sleepy town in Fremont, California. My first venture was, as a kid, my dad was an entrepreneur, and I got a little bit of the bug from him. I started my first .com business when I was 21 out of college, and then it just kind of gravitated from there. I guess more notably is that back in Palo Alto, I was going to school there for some time, consulting for a lot of companies, and you started to realize that there's this major wave that's happening here in Korea, that a lot of startups are looking to go global, and they have some fantastic technology, a lot of great concepts, consumer-facing products are just fantastic in the design. But one of the bigger missing pieces was the fact that it was a culture problem. It was a culture problem on how to figure out how to actually take your product and glow to the global market. And so for guys like us that, I'm naturally born in, the States, but have a strong background in bringing consumer products from Korea to the United States. It's kind of giving me an advantage. We brought our yogurt concept called Red Mango, frozen yogurt, and we did that. We put a location over at Google. We had a location in Stanford. Gaming, and I worked on gaming. And I just kind of naturally got pulled into K-pop being the next cultural product from Korea to see its way out through the global market, and we've been very excited about that. So
now you're mainly focused on the K-pop business, which you say is like a $3.5 or $3.6 billion business. But don't you feel this whole crowdsourcing, like content crowdsourcing platform, could be relevant for others, like other industries in the music industry?
Absolutely. The great thing about K-pop fans is that they don't just like one genre of music. A lot of these fans like dance music. Just because I like Super Junior, Big Bang doesn't mean that I don't like Bruno Mars, Stevie Aoki, and bigger, EDM kind of DJ scene. So for us, it really is. The K-pop fandom really needed the most addressing. There's a big pain point for them right now in these concerts coming to the city. And so we wanted to address that first and just have all of these guys, these same votes that you see through the YouTube Music Awards, voting up Girls' Generation to win the Music Video of the Year, have a portal for them, finally, But more importantly is that starting as of 2016, we already have agencies that are contacting us saying, hey, put my group up there. They're not K-pop, but can we do that? And I said, absolutely. Why? Because we're all, lovers of different types of music, indie bands. We don't have to have a 2,000, 4,000, venue concert for this big K-pop blowout. I'm a big proponent of actually supporting younger groups, younger artists that are actually looking for an audience. And the great thing about K-pop fandom is that they're very open-minded. They love these indie bands as much as they love these big groups. And so let's just get them onto a playground or a portal so they all can play together and start doing really cool discovery.
Yeah. Exactly. Now I'm interested, I start to see a pattern in Korea somehow. Last year, Fleeto won.
Yeah.
Fleeto is also a crowdsourcing platform.
Yep.
It leveraged the crowds
Yep.
to make translation, you leverage the crowd to bring the fans and the artists together. And we've seen a lot of those kinds of business models here in Korea. Is there like a trend towards platforms leveraging the crowd here in Korea, or do you see that as a pattern?
Well, I think the cool overlap between Fleeto's product and Crowdpop is the fact that it harnesses all of that activity. And so if you started looking at the demographic and talking to Simon, you started noticing a lot of these people, especially for the translation business that he has, tends to be a little bit more the K-pop fans. It's expanded from there. He's got over 3 million users right now. But I think more interestingly is that we're conduit businesses. We're businesses that take a look at how the world is progressively getting more and more flat and how to connect people on that kind of way. So for Fleeto's example, you have a translation company, and a lot of these people are just throwing up content together saying, listen, I have this music video, I want to understand what this good-looking guy is saying, right? Whereas Crowdpop is really saying, hey, listen, you have that same underlying theme of Hallyu content. And the Korean government spending billions upon billions of dollars making sure that Hallyu content is actually spreading throughout the world. So we're kind of riding that wave in the same way of, there's a lot of content that's going out, but that missing piece is the people here in Korea are still trying to figure out how to do that globalization piece, how to actually start to utilize their content in a meaningful kind of way and aggregate people in this piece to actually hear what the consumer really wants.
Are you getting support from the government? I mean, you're promoting the Korean culture.
We need more support for the Korean government.
Time to ask.
Please give us support money. No, so right now, there's a lot of great government organizations out there. Thankfully, Korea is very, very bullish on the startup movement. The presidential administration, the now current administration, is really trying to push what they're calling a global economy, a creative economy. And it's a really big help for startups here in Korea. And so I've got a lot of friends in the Silicon Valley that are starting to make their way over to Korea, understanding that the conditions are great, the timing is perfect. There's a lot of government money that's actually running on, creating better startups here, creating a Silicon Valley type community, but putting their own spin on it. And so it's a really interesting time to be an entrepreneur out in here, Korea. But moreover is that, the funding that's coming down, the support that's coming through, and it's not super easy. There's a lot of cultural problems that people need to get over. But it's really cool to be an entrepreneur in Asia right now. So
what about those cultural problems you were mentioning? I mean, you came from the Silicon Valley, so you experienced, the entrepreneurial spirit from where almost you was born.
Yeah.
And then you come here and you want to start your business.
Yeah.
What do you face? How many issues do you face?
Well, there's a lot of different things. So it's kind of like, in the Valley, you go to Kleiner Perkins, you go to, Andreessen Horowitz and a lot of these bigger firms, and you can have a 15-page pitch deck that's kind of selling on a consumer idea, saying this is a billion-dollar market, and we're going to have some really disruptive technologies, and there'll be $3 million in a huge valuation that pops in right away. Whereas in Korea, they're much more conservative when it comes to the ideas of valuation, because the M&A activity hasn't been as big as what you see in Silicon Valley. But moreover, it's really, they're used to kind of this real estate, like, let's take a look at your past financial projection, or your financials, let's look at your projections, and then kind of make an extrapolation from there to come up with your valuation. And it's kind of tough when you're a startup. I mean, you got an MVP out, you got some traction, but at the same time, you need that capital to fuel your business. And the VCs are slowly starting to get into it. There's some cool incubators and accelerators that are out there that are getting people some seed funding. But in terms of just the globalization part, and you're really getting it in that Silicon kind of Valley way, is something that's kind of taking part Second to that, there's a lot of drinking that's happening here in Korea for business.
Really?
I quit a while ago. I'm right now going dry. I couldn't handle it. There's a lot of great food, but beyond that is that I think that one of the differences is that when you're in Silicon Valley, they don't really think about globalization. I think that the mentality is already there. Since states like California is such a melting pot already when it comes to culture, when it comes to product, is that they're setting the pace. And so when you come up with a company like Snapchat, LinkedIn, and so on and so forth, you don't think, well, how can I go global with this product? They're already there in the mentality. Here in Korea, it's a little bit different. They think globally, act locally, but they still have that bridging problem. And so for one of our initiatives for Crowdpop is really, as we're taking this Hallyu culture and spreading it forward, we're going to have more events where we have Korean startups that join our worldwide events. It's a concert. You have 6,000 kids that are there. They're all Hallyu fans. Well, why don't we have 10 of the best startups that are joining us, so that while the kids are in line, can actually start playing around with the apps, start playing around with some of the cool concepts, and say, hey, this is pretty cool, and start getting that discovery there. So we see concerts as kind of being a Trojan horse for this globalization that is Korean Hallyu product, and we're hoping to get that out.
And so looking at the whole crowdsourcing, so last year Fleeto translation crowdsourcing, this year K-pop concert crowdsourcing. What do you think would be, where else would you see crowdsourcing like being relevant or being laid out as a really sustainable business model from Korea or from anywhere else?
The basic tenets of crowdsourcing is, for me, the thing I love is that let's democratize processes. Let's democratize the whole process of translation, so you don't have to go through these major firms. Let's go to peer-to-peer networks and start getting it done. Same thing for concerts is that you see these peer-to-peer networks that say, hey, listen, the fans want this show, so let's start representing that. I think the investment side is already happening, but I think that more of kind of growth hackers, granted, there's a lot of sites out there right now that are funding young startups to start getting up there, but I'd love to see that more activity start to happen. I'd love to see microfilm projects out of Korea start to kind of emanate from there. The maker movement right now with more MakerBot kind of stuff for templates for young artists. So I'd love to see more of that. Yeah.
And so you came from the Silicon Valley where everyone used to say everything happens, it's where everything happens. And here at Seedstars World, we're all about saying, no, it's not true, not everything comes out of Silicon Valley, there's stuff happening elsewhere. Would you say that right now it's a much more exciting time for you to be in Korea than to be in Silicon Valley?
It is. And this is not coming from a nationalistic kind of thing. I think that, me being Korean American, definitely helps to come back to my roots here in Korea. But I think that there's just this wave that's happening towards Asia right now. You have a lot of hungry entrepreneurs that are breaking away from this conglomerate model of, I'm this young Korean guy that I need to go to the top university in Seoul and then go work for, Samsung, LG, and just really hate my life, for the next 7 years and saying, why am I doing this? You have a lot of guys that are having this departure breaking away, and the government really helping with a lot of great programs that are fueling this kind of innovative activity. And so it's really exciting. China is doing a lot of great things. My buddy that's out there right now with Hong Kong University of Science and Technology has put together an ICE program where they have MIT that's coming out, that's actually doing a linkage with them. MIT having more representation here. So, Asia, alongside of the fact that there's a lot of people in China, Japan, Southeast Asia, Korea, a lot of great innovators that are there looking to actually make that next global, business to hit the billionaire club, is definitely there. And so for us, we just want to be one of these front runners that are looking at globalization of culture. And we're pretty excited to be in Asia right now. So,
yeah, it's a really exciting place.
It's a really great
place. A lot of people tend to talk about Singapore as like the main hub in Asia.
Yeah.
How do you see Seoul comparing and competing with a hub like Singapore?
Well, Singapore already has this kind of great melting pot of culture. They're trying to position themselves as this the brand new Hong Kong, if you will, the financial center of the world, and they're really aggressively pushing that. Korea, it has major technology firms like Samsung, LG. They're all looking to push out. I think that Korea tends to be a little bit more on the conservative side. just because of that conservatism has kind of helped grow. It's economic growth for the last 30 years right now. But it's breaking out. I think that you will see a lot of top talent, like I said before, come out of these major firms to come up with some really, really disruptive technology out in the next 5 years. And so, compared to Mark, I can't say Korea is better than Singapore and Singapore is better than Korea. But what I will say is that you'll see a lot of really world-class companies and applications and whatever it be technology come out of Korea in the next 5 years that will, I wouldn't say rival Silicon Valley, but it would give it a good run for its money.
So you were mentioning you've been looking at exit strategies towards the US, for example. We haven't seen that much happening this link between the US and Korea right now.
Yeah.
It seems to be very Korean focused. Korean investors invest in Korean startups. There's Korean acquisitions, Korean IPO. Not many links like you see in Southeast Asia where Singapore companies or Japanese companies acquire Vietnamese companies or Thai companies. In Korea it seems to be a very lonely ecosystem where things happen just among Koreans.
Yeah, and that's just in part by Korean culture. Koreans like working with Koreans. As much as this global banner has been kind of touted along the Korean government and all the activity within businesses, there still is that cultural, friction that still hasn't been smoothed over. And so for us, we're really looking to kind of be an example in terms of how globalization can happen, and thankfully it's through Hallyu content. So you have companies like Viki that got a recent acquisition of Rakuten, a Japanese VC firm, for about $200 million, which is a decent sized valuation for. So you have that. You've got guys like Coupang. Two of the founders came out from HBS, came to Korea and started saying, hey, let's do a business out here. Let's reverse engineer and look at the Groupon model and bring it for ourselves. So in that same kind of way, we're looking at. Initially, we brought the company. It was really registered in the United States. It was a California-based LLC, and I brought it back over here to kind of get the Korean government involved in this process, in looking at, okay, well, hey, listen, let's get another model for startups, and then have it, have a pretty decent opportunity to take it global, especially with the rise of the Hallyu wave and Hallyu content. And so, for us, we registered out here in Korea. We built a global team, and we really wanted to make sure we kept it as Silicon Valley as possible in the culture, in terms of the work environment, in terms of the processes, to make sure that kind of innovation is fed up. And for us, we're closing our seed round now. With this, we're looking to actually do some pretty good, funding size. And then next is taking to Silicon Valley to close down a Series A out there to get some global partners out involved. And not so much of just the funding, because there's enough funding that's out here. It's just really looking for smart funding that's going to take this concept, this platform, and ride it out to the global stage and get a valuation that is, I guess hopefully an inspiration to most other people. Hopefully it'd be great for me to get a decent valuation for the company, but beyond that is to have the next generation of entrepreneurs out in Korea say, hey, listen, these are some of the success stories that are starting to happen. And so, there's my inspiration to actually get it out, because the groundwork has been laid for doing that.
It's interesting, as a Korean American, you seem very schizophrenic with your startup. Like, just surfing between, I need to be based in Korea because I want support from the Korean government.
Right.
You're supporting Korean
Right.
abroad as well. And then on the other hand, you're looking at funding and exit strategy from the US. Right.
Well, so it's interesting enough. I think to be the CEO and to do this job right, you have to have a little bit of that schizophrenia. And the reason why is because, crowd pop is not uniquely Korean, nor is it uniquely United States. It's actually for the globe. And so to understand both sides of that pond, because one of the bigger friction points for Korean entertainment is working with the agencies. And I think one of my unique advantages is that I speak Korean, I understand the culture, I've done business in Korea, but I've also done business abroad, I've done business in Singapore, I've done business in Silicon Valley, and it really has, helped me from a cultural perspective is to understand, there's these two business, associates here, there's company A and company B. Well, how do I come in there and actually start laying a bridge so that we can start working together in a win-win situation? And so that's been my advantage. And in terms of the skepticism of what's happening in Korea, you'll ask any Korean, startup CEO out here, and I'm sure that they have the same kind of comments that I do. Does it mean that I hate the Korean, startup scene? Absolutely not. I think that, with any kind of emerging market, it has its own problems, and it's going to grow beyond them. But you have to understand what the problems are to really start to figure out, well, these are the solutions that need to come into play, and just make it a better place for everybody next year.
Right. So looking back at Kpop, what is the next big fan base you want to reach out to?
We have 10 groups signed up, all pretty great groups right now. We won't give away the surprise just as of yet.
So all K-pop, right?
It's all K-pop.
But what other fan base are you looking at? Completely different music. I don't know, it could be whatever.
So we're looking at the EDM scene, electronic dance music with a DJ set scene. Those are big concerts. But beyond EDM I love the indie scene. I'm a big indie fan. I've been playing music for the past 15 years. Started off when I was 12 playing the guitar, and I really would like to have this as a discovery engine for a lot of these smaller groups that are trying to make it away. And I know you and I had talked the other night, saying that there's some great acts in France that would love to come out to Korea and have a stage out here. But it really is just that sticking point of the problem of like, how do we make it happen? I can't start getting a Facebook group out there and asking a whole bunch of people for money. It's just kind of awkward. So EDM, indie scene, brand new music for a lot of the smaller groups that just kind of get a way to make some money, get some more shows happen.
Cool. So what's the next most exciting concert that's coming up on K-pop?
I would love to tell you, but I'd have to kill you. We have
a big one coming up.
It's a big one coming up. We have a series coming out in Southeast Asia. We have a pretty cool casting lineup for the United States, and then hopefully by February, March of next year, we can bring this out to Europe.
Big one in Geneva for the final.
Big one in Geneva, yes.
Let's bring a big K-pop star to Geneva for the final event.
Well, you tell me who you guys want. You guys tell me who you want, and we'll make sure it happens. So, yeah.
We don't want to go Gangnam Style. Right? Psy is too classic.
I like Psy, but Psy is.
We're a bit tired of it.
Psy's busy out here, so yeah.
Cool. So what are you most looking forward to when you're coming to Geneva next year?
Honestly, I'm looking to get inspired. Korea has great design. They're really, really consumer focused, but it's Switzerland. I mean, Switzerland has some of the world's top innovators. It's really design focused. It's one of the happiest places in the world to live. I'd love to say cheese and fondue. I am very excited about that. But really, I'm looking to go out there, be part of the Alps, be part of the environment, and really kind of pick up on some of the inspiration on really consumer-focused design, consumer-focused sensibility, and take that back to Korea and see what we can do with it. So
awesome. So we'll see you in Geneva.
So see you in Geneva.
See ya. Yeah. And we're flying in 2 hours to Thailand, so see you guys in Thailand. Bye.